How do migrating animals know where to go and when to leave? Some animals undertake awe-inspiring migrations that are feats of survival and endurance. These animals and birds cover enormous distances in challenging conditions, all while dodging predators and obstacles. Last time we looked at some of these animals and birds and their migrations. This time we're going to look at how the animals know where to go and when to leave. Alright, so firstly, how do animals know where to go? Animals use amazing navigational skills in response to available stimuli to find their way during long trips. And many use a combination of these skills and stimuli. So let's look at a few of these. Number 1. The sun, stars and celestial compasses. Monarch butterflies, for example, navigate using the sun as a guide. They are able to use the sun to get their bearings and adjust this for the time of the day and the sun's position in the sky using an internal circadian clock. An internal circadian clock is the body's natural 24-hour cycle that tells your body when to sleep, when to awake, and when to perform other functions like hormone release and digestion. Special cells in the monarch's butterfly's eyes, called photoreceptors, help them to detect the polarization pattern of daylight. A polarization pattern is a pattern of light waves that are oriented in a specific direction. This ability helps the monarch butterflies to navigate when the sun is hidden by cloud. They also use the Earth's magnetic field, which we'll discuss shortly. Many birds use the position of the sun during the day and their internal circadian clocks to accurately determine their direction too. This is also the method used by homing pigeons to find their way home. At night, many migratory birds are then able to navigate using the stars. They can identify constellations and use them to determine their position and direction. So in the northern hemisphere, the North Star is an important reference point in the night sky. Researchers found that some nocturnal migratory birds can remember the star patterns observed from their birthplace. They then use this memory during migration as adults. And number 2, magnetic compass and geomagnetic fields. Many migratory animals use the Earth's magnetic field for navigation. This ability, known as magnetoreception, allows animals to detect the geomagnetic field and use it to determine their position and direction or heading. Birds, sea turtles, fishes, crustaceans and insects use this method. There are a couple of variations to this method. Birds use magnetically sensitive proteins called cryptochromes located in their retinas in their eyes. These proteins form magnetically sensitive chemicals called radical pairs when they absorb photons of light. The radical pairs allow the birds to determine the magnetic direction. Birds also use magnetite-based receptors in the beak region to determine magnetic intensity. They use this to create a magnetic map of the area. Some animals can sense and use the inclination or tilt of the magnetic lines to form a magnetic map. They use this to help maintain migratory headings and even distinguish among different inclination angles to determine latitude. They are sensitive to subtle differences in the intensity and angle of the Earth's magnetic field between various locations to determine position. Sea turtles, sharks and pink salmon create such magnetic maps. These navigational methods are being studied and are not yet fully understood. Navigation using magnetic fields is considered less accurate than some other methods. This explains why animals using magnetic fields for navigation use other methods too. And number 3, ocean currents and temperatures. Whales and sea turtles memorize ocean currents and temperatures. They use these clues like a map to guide them thousands of miles. The southern hemisphere population of humpback whales migrates annually from the Antarctic feeding grounds to the waters of Western Australia for breeding. They leave the Antarctic feeding grounds at the end of the summer, as sea ice concentration increases and the sea surface temperature decreases. Throughout the tropics, manta rays and whale sharks migrate with warm currents as they shift with the seasons. These shifts in currents are often due to changes in wind patterns and the resulting upwelling and downwelling of water. The larvae of countless pelagic fish, mollusks and crustaceans rely on currents to drift away from their spawning areas. Turtle hatchlings use wave direction to navigate. They swim perpendicular to the waves when they first enter the sea until they are far enough out to use magnetic navigation. And number 4, olfactory navigation. Smell is another key tool. Olfactory navigation involves using scent trails and environmental odors to locate specific places. For example, salmon remember the unique scent of their home stream. They use these olfactory cues to navigate back to their natal streams where they spawn. And number 5, visual cues. Visual cues such as landmarks and landscape features are crucial for the navigation of birds and mammals. Birds often use visual landmarks like mountains, rivers and coastlines to orient themselves during migrations. They also utilize the patterns of polarized light, which change with the sun's position, to maintain their direction. Some sea mammals use features on the ocean floor to guide them. Wildebeest use smell and visual cues to move along established migratory routes across the savanna in search of water and seasonal vegetation. They can smell the coming rains and time their migration to arrive as the rain falls, the rivers fill, and the new grass grows. And number 6, memory. Long-lived migratory animals progressively refine their migratory behaviors and timing as they age and gain experience. In northern Botswana, for example, elephants embark on long migrations in search of food and water. They move across vast distances within the Okavango Delta and beyond. The matriarchs remember the paths taken by previous generations and guide their herds along ancient routes. Okay, so now we know how they find their way, but how do they know when to leave? Animals rely on a number of external environmental cues and internal physiological phenomena. Let's first understand circadian and circannual rhythms and biological clocks. Animals like ourselves have endogenous or internal biological clocks. Biological clocks are complex molecular mechanisms that generate and regulate bodily rhythms. Biological clocks are regulated by a set of clock genes and proteins within the cells. Bodily rhythms include circadian and circannual rhythms. Circadian rhythms are about 24 hours long and influence daily activities such as the sleep-wake cycle, feeding, and hormone release. Circadian rhythms are synchronized with external cues like temperature and light. Circannual rhythms follow an annual cycle, regulating seasonal behaviors such as migration, reproduction, and hibernation. These rhythms help migratory animals anticipate and prepare for seasonal changes. This ensures that animals migrate at the optimal time to enhance their chances of survival and reproduction. Changes in the length of day and environmental cues such as temperature and rainfall stimulate changes within the animals' bodies. These changes include body fattening, increases muscle mass and strength, for example in flight and heart muscles in migratory birds, increased muscle flexibility, and changes in hormonal regulation. The hormones released increased appetite and metabolism to accumulate sufficient energy reserves for migration. The hormones also control the muscle changes and control the reduction in organ mass. Yes, some birds can reduce the mass of the organs that they won't be using much during their migration. The hormonal changes also make the animals restless, as their bodies change and prepare for the coming migration, spurring them on to migrate. Okay, another big question. Why do animals migrate? Well, we have touched on the fact that they migrate to find food and water as seasons change, to find suitable, safer places to bear their young, and to move to warmer, more suitable climates. But as with many things in nature, it is not that simple. In terms of biodiversity and ecology, migrations are essential to maintaining healthy ecosystems, and thus supporting the biodiversity of an area. Migration affects the distribution of prey and predators, keeps nutrients cycling around the planet, and helps the spread of pollen and seeds. For example, the migration of the elephants we mentioned just now in northern Botswana is a vital part in maintaining the African savanna ecosystem. Along the way, elephants play a key role in shaping the landscape. They create water holes by digging for water, clear vegetation as they eat, and deposit dung that fertilizes the soil. This ensures other animals have the resources they need for their survival too. The elephant migration also ensures that regions are not overstressed in dry seasons when there is little water for bushes to recover easily and very little, if any, grass available to eat. So animal migrations are really impressive, but they're also essential for healthy ecosystems and ultimately a healthy planet. Well, there you have it. How amazing animals in the natural world are. Let me know in the comments what you found most awe-inspiring about the methods animals use to navigate. And if you'd like to know more about the migrations of specific animals, watch last week's video. I'll leave a link up at the top here and down in the description. And if you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. Until next time, enjoy.